No. And I think to go back to the first thing you said, it's just doing right by the kid, because whether like Chandler Morris's father's influence shouldn't play on whether or not this is the right or wrong thing to do. We're just adding that as another layer of complexity here for Lincoln Riley to deal with. But most kids aren't in that position, right? Most kids, like, my dad, works a normal job or is, not involved in football or athletics, right? And so there is like I'm basically having to advocate for myself. And I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, just in terms that's a miss by Lincoln Riley, in my opinion.
So I wanna throw this one at you as a Texas guy, and because it's a question, like the questions that people want me to answer, the things they want me to talk about, always just kind of shocks me, because I'm thinking, really, that low hanging fruit? That's what we're doing? All right, cool. So I'm gonna give this to you. Is Caleb Williams going to push Spencer Rattler for the starting quarterback job in 2021?
No. What are Spencer Rattler's Heisman odds? By chance, did anybody not see the way he played the last half of the season? His growth. Again, this is me watching from the other side, right? The other side of the 50 in Dallas. The kid that got benched and had to come out and have a sit by me situation with Lincoln Riley, to what we saw him progress round 2 against Iowa State and how he played, the Florida game, and now everybody's excited about him being a Heisman. I understand the recruiting prowess that Caleb Williams brings in. He's Superman, all that, and how he's been a wonderful recruiter for Oklahoma. Social media, doing all the right things. But I don't understand why people, and not some fans, not all, but I don't understand why some fans like to put this ridiculous. I mean, yeah, should Caleb Williams push Spencer Rattler in practice and spring and push him to where he's giving his best every day? Absolutely. But challenge him for the starting position. I mean, what do you understand? Like, it would have to be like a Trevor Lawrence, Kelly Bryant type gap for that to happen. I do not see that with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams.
So odds on Rattler winning the Heisman are the best in the country. He's getting plus 300. That's 3-1. Next dude on the list is DJ Uiagalelei. Then you're talking about JT Daniels, but I think those odds are gonna actually go up because George Pickens is probably out for the year. And for the sake of this conversation, Bijan Robinson is at 30-1, right? And then there's Casey Thompson a little bit further behind, Jace McClellan, Malik Cunningham at Louisville, and C.J. Stroud in Florida. So, at Ohio State. Emory Jones at Florida. But like, I'm looking at it. By the way, Jack Miller's getting better Heisman odds than C.J. Stroud, which I'm sure is going to be. Actually, no, they're both getting 40-1. Okay, good. Because I was about to say that's going to be news in Columbus. But like, there are a lot of people that are like C.J. Stroud, and I'm like, I can't call it.
There's one other person I wanted to ask if they were on the list. That's a complete wild card, but
please.
The kid from Oregon, is Tyler Schroe.
Tyler Shuck.
Shuck. Yeah, that transferred from Oregon to Texas Tech since we brought up Wells earlier.
He's getting the same odds as Sean Clifford, British Brooks, Joe Milton, Zamir White, Bo Nix, Max Duggan, Talia Tagovailoa, Jarrett Dagey, and Desmond Ritter, which is plus 10,000 or 100-1.
Desmond Ritter?
Hey, Desmond Ritter is a lot of people's sexy pick to be QB1 next year. I'm not kidding. Like, when I talk to
he put some respect on his name, people.
Hey, look, I don't see it because here's the thing. I'm also a TU fan, right? So like I'm watching the American. Like I am in on the Gus bus. Like Gus came to my university when I was still in college. Like I saw Gus walk in doing 5 sets of 5 at 175 on incline and leave wearing like a sweater vest or whatever because Gus is Gus. But I'm all to say I watch a lot of American football. I watch a lot of football, period. You know this. But the point there being, I ain't seeing it with no Desmond Ritter, dog. I don't see it. I don't see it. I see it with Cincy last year, but I'm also one of the biggest Marcus Freeman fans in the world. And I'm going to be interested to see what their defense looks like next year because they got dudes on that defense. Like, they're probably going to have 4 guys that play NFL football next year. Maybe all 4 get drafted on defense. They were that stacked. But I watched Desmond Ritter, and I'm going, is this your king? Is this your king? Because I watched Cincinnati Tulsa, and I was going, whoever got the better quarterback gonna win this game. And Desmond Ritter outplayed Zach Smith, and I'm going, that's how bad Zach Smith was. But no, I think the respect needed to be put on the defense. I just don't see it with Ritter. In the same way that I don't see it with Clifford, but we'll see what happens with Yurcich. Like, I like Clifford better to win a Heisman Trophy than I do Ritter, but that's a lot to do with Yurcich and James Franklin and recruiting. But, like, it says everything to me that Bo Nix has the same odds as Desmond Ritter to win the Heisman Trophy. It says everything.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So now that we have put to bed the Caleb Williams, Spencer Rattler discussion, who's going to be the starting quarterback at Texas? Hudson Card or Casey Thompson?
To start the season, I think it's still going to be Casey Thompson. I think he'll earn the start against Louisiana. I think right now, spring practice, they got slowed down.
Wait, real quick. Are you terrified of that game? Because I think you should be terrified of that game.
I am.
Okay.
I am. And again, those of you who are following Fanatic Perspective on YouTube, subscribers, we're going to 10,000 subscribers. I'm very excited. Thanks to many of you.
My man.
Thanks to many of you appearing on this channel. I'm waving. If you can't see me, I'm waving right now. Thank you. But I am terrified of that game. Any video you see me make, look, I'm not. There's some Kool-Aid to drink. I'm not drinking all the Kool-Aid like that. All right, like there has to be. And I've said this before. I think I said this the last time I talked to you. We're in the honeymoon phase right now. Spring is full of. When you look at your team, you're looking at it from a standpoint of, oh, this depth chart is full of strengths and question marks. There are no weaknesses, just question marks. So when you're looking at a quarterback position right now, can't necessarily say it's a strength because Casey Thompson's played just a little bit, albeit he's played very well when we've gotten to see him, and Hudson Card really hasn't played at all. So it's a question mark, but it's an exciting one. You're talking about the quarterback for the University of Texas. You're talking about the quarterback who's replacing Sam Ehlinger, Casey Thompson, taking it one step forward, say, hey, I want to rock the number 11 because that's my number from high school, and Sam's gone, so I'm gonna come up on that. That's dope. I like his energy, and the thing is, what he's competing against with Hudson Card is the potential aspect, and there's 2 ways for me that I look at it, where you look at like last year. Steve Sarkeesian had a situation with Mac Jones, with Tua Tagovailoa leaving for the NFL. He had Mac Jones, but he had that stud, Bryce Young, right behind him that everybody was saying, oh, it's just a matter of time till he unseats Mac Jones. And Mac Jones became Mac Jones because pushed him, he got even better and became what he became. Or you look at Kelly Bryant, the example I used earlier, Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence. Now, I think Casey Thompson, in those comparisons, I think Casey Thompson is now being underrated in terms of his talent and skill set. I think he's being underrated now. Because even some of the talent you saw in that brief appearance in the Colorado game, dude, I'll even tell you, like, I was like, oh, there's definitely more meat on the bone and upside from a arm talent standpoint than even with Sam Ehlinger. That's an upgrade. Like, I'm okay with saying that. I'm not saying it's a better leader or any of those things, but in terms of what I saw, skill set, speed, throwing the ball, everything, execute and run the offense, especially the deep shot he took on Monte Dixon, we hadn't seen that in a minute at Texas in terms of that. And so if they're saying behind the scenes, and from what I saw in my own eye of Hudson Card at Lake Travis High School, he can spin it. There's all that stuff is real. I've seen it with my own eyes. But the question is, who is going to be able to move the offense that Steve Sarkeesian feels comfortable with in his opening? Because he doesn't want to be Tom Herman, Maryland Part 2, right? He wants to go in there and say, who gives me the best chance to win up front? But as we've seen with these quarterback things, I think it's going to play into the season potentially. But in terms of who opens as our starter, I would be surprised if it's not Casey Thompson, to be honest with you, as of right now while we're talking.